Hello, hello, beautiful people. I just want to say I have really been going through some shifts and I could feel the cleansing. But as a woman who has been through a lot of traumatic experiences, it's still difficult, it's still turbulent, tears still flow, silence still comes, I'm still processing. I'm still learning to return to me. I think sometimes we think that we can heal in just a small amount of time over an extensive amount of time of trauma. So I have to say that I went through trauma, and everybody goes through trauma, but in my case, it was severe, it was complex, it was a couple different things at once. And I experienced these traumas from the age 6 all the way up until 23, I want to say, is when I really started to break away from those old habits of wanting to be the it girl, wanting to be popular, wanting to be seen, wanting to be loved in the wrong way. But it took me some detrimental relationships to get there. I had to learn. And because I didn't have my father growing up to teach me discipline, or to teach me how a man's supposed to treat a woman, or to teach me how to go out and really get it on my own without having to need that support, right? I had to learn things the hard way. I was 18, dealing with a 30-year-old, and, me thinking then, hey, he's just mature and I'm just mature, and, maybe I deserve somebody a little older than me. But, I really was mature, but sexually. And that was only because I was abused at an early age. So me not understanding that I needed maturity in other levels, and I think that that's important to understand. I thought that just because I was introduced to such adult things and went through adult things that I was grown, so I could experience those things differently, right? I didn't have good guidance or those women around me telling me, hey, you need to slow down. I know you experienced these, but you still have a lot of things to learn. You need to learn individuality, self-love. We need to heal and cleanse from these things. You can't just hop from one relationship to the next relationship and think that everything's going to be all good and you're not going to be dealing with the residuals of that. Chris Brown, hey, residuals. Anyway, you will deal with the residuals of that if you do not heal properly. And I can say that in all of my relationships, even my marriage now, I rushed. I constantly looked for, someone to love me, when really all that love was inside of me, and I just had to pull it from the inside first. That way, when I learned to truly love myself, I can open those doors to be able to cultivate and bring in that true love, right? Because how I love myself, it helps people to show up for me in that same capacity, right? So I can't expect that if I'm not telling people my work or standing on who I am. I used to, ignore a lot of things. People would hurt me and I wouldn't tell them. I would just move forward. And that was okay for me in some instances because it helped me not to be a revengeful person. It helped me to move on in peace and not to be bothered with them. But it also opened another woundful door. I wasn't able to speak up. So learning how to speak up for myself has really been an extensive part of this journey. I said all that to say this: keep going on your journey. It's not going to come overnight, the healing. It's a continuous thing. There's no final destination. And I say that to a lot of people. There's no final destination. You got to keep going. You got to get up every day and remind yourself who you are. You spend years and years and years of hearing, I'll be specific. You a hoe. You going to be like your mama. You're not going to be this, or, are you sure you can do this? I remember the first guy that I really dated that I truly fell in love with told me I needed a lot of help. So these things that people tell us, we don't want to believe it, but it still sticks in the back of our mind. And if we don't know how to resolve that unresolved trauma, then we don't realize our worth. It kind of sticks there unsubconsciously. So when you move on into those next phases, until those things come to trigger you, you don't understand it and you don't see it. And I used to think, hey, I'm good because I'm healing. I'm doing this. I'm out to myself. But was I healing or was I avoiding? So when I began to come up out of my tree and my shell, and God started to send things to destroy my peace, I noticed, no, I avoided. I didn't truly heal. Yes, I learned the tools and I learned what it takes, but I didn't learn how to communicate that with other people because I spent so much time in isolation. Example, when people would come to me at work, and I'm a hard worker, so when people are lazy and stuff, and I understand people don't always work the same as me, but when people don't work the same as I do or give what I give, it irritates me. And I have to understand that everybody doesn't work at my pace or my level. And then it made me think, is that work healthy? Am I giving too much? Or do I need to set an example so people are reciprocating? So people will come to me and certain things they will say to me. And because I was hearing it from my trigger self and not my healed self, I would get defensive and I would go back and hide, right? And they would think, oh, that girl mean, she rude, but really this is how I heal. This is how I receive. This is how I reflect. They didn't get that. But then God said, no, you were just avoiding. I need you to learn how to communicate. Especially if this is who you are and what you want to do. Especially if this is what you've been called to do. Because a lot of times we're called, but we don't want to do it, right? Because we feel like we're insufficient. So I say all of that to say this, keep going. Day by day, you rise. Day by day, you shed another layer. It's just like peeling an onion. I promise. It's just like having that rose in a field of thorns. And it hurts at those thorns, but that flower is so succulent. It's so juicy. It's so real. I'm telling you, it takes time. And then also, when we get in those spaces, teach ourselves, okay, this is just a shift. Breathe through it. My body's changing. It's okay. I can give myself grace through this. Because our bodies get mad when we shed those old things that it's so used to. But let it go out with its fight. Let it go out with peace. Continue to usher it out and receive that love, you guys. We can do this. We can elevate. We can overcome. Our ancestors made the way for us, but we're here to bridge the gaps. We're here to bridge the gaps, you guys. I love you. Love and light. Yo, 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 yo! Welcome to I Transmute, where we listen to understand.